Welcome to How to Cook That. I'm Anne Ridden, and today, due to popular demand, we're going to be debunking a few more fake baking videos. If you're new to this series, then it is a bit like the fake news of the baking world, making up recipes that don't work or can't work just to make a viral video. We're also going to be looking at something today which is perhaps a lot more important, which is what if kids follow these hacks or baking recipes and something goes wrong and they get hurt? Who's responsible for that? One of my subscribers sent me a shocking story about a teenager, she's 14 years old, with her 12-year-old friend who were following a baking hack. They were real fans of Mrs. Yee's channel. They tried to replicate one of her videos where she makes popcorn, and it all went horribly wrong. The 14-year-old received burns to 96% of her body and died 2 weeks later in hospital, which is just awful, and the 12-year-old girl is still requiring treatment for her burns. Well, Mrs. Yee responded in a public statement on her Weibo page saying that these are the darkest days of her life. She has been publicly labelled a murderer, and she has seriously asked herself, am I a murderer? Did I cause her death? She goes on to say that if they followed her video and did it exactly as she did, there would have been no danger. And she points out there are lots of other videos online that show a similar method. So let's just stop there and look at what actually happened in this situation. Mrs. Yee in her video uses a soda can and a tea stand with an alcohol lamp underneath it to make popcorn. I'm sure you've seen similar videos to this before. The police photo shows that the girls didn't use an alcohol lamp. They in fact used 2 cans, and there are hundreds of videos showing how to use 2 cans to make popcorn. The main difference is those ones all use a candle underneath. In this situation, the girls decided to use alcohol for the heat source, and you can see in a lot of Mrs. Yee's other videos she uses alcohol for the heat source as well. So they could have got the idea from there, or they could have got the idea from somewhere else. There are other videos showing making your own alcohol burner for popping popcorn or for any other use. So it's impossible to say with certainty where these girls got the idea of using the alcohol burner in the can. It could have been from Mrs. Yee's video, it could have been from one of hundreds of other videos online. The danger came in where the flame wasn't big enough, so they added more alcohol to the already lit burner. And the alcohol that you're pouring in, the flame can just follow that back up to the bottle, which is what happened, and then cause the bottle of alcohol to explode, which then puts flaming alcohol and soaks everything in sight. Now, I remember when I did the Bomb Alaska video, I gave that exact warning of don't pour alcohol from the bottle or the flame can follow it up and cause the bottle to explode. The reason I warned of that is this has happened before. It's happened when chefs have poured stuff at the table and then the bottles have exploded, causing burns to all the people at the table. So it is dangerous, and just heed that warning. Mrs. Yee went on to say in her statement that her videos are just meant to be entertainment for adults. They are not meant to be instructional videos for children. And although she believes that the accident was not based on the imitation of her video, this tragic accident does make her deeply reflect on her own goals. She says the internet is not an adult internet. A large number of children consume it as an important information source. And she says, I did not provide a good example. I'm sorry, I let everyone down. She plans to add more safety warnings in the future and will pay for the family's medical bills, as neither of the girls' families can afford for those medical bills. But obviously that's not going to bring the 14-year-old child back or repair what's happened to the 12-year-old. I do think that in this particular case, that she is being unfairly burdened with blame and responsibility on this. If the girls did follow exactly what she did in her video, there wouldn't have been this tragic accident. However, I think she's made some good points there of kids are watching this content, even if it's being made for adult entertainment and not with kids in mind. Kids are still watching and they're absorbing like sponges and taking this into their brain as this is the way things work, and things work this way, I can replicate that and do that at home. So that brings me to the question, what if they did it exactly like it's in the video and got harmed? Whose responsibility would that be? So in the example like of the bleached strawberries that we showed in the previous video, is that the responsibility of the content creator who put that up if a kid eats a bleached strawberry and gets sick? Or is it the responsibility of YouTube? I know several of my subscribers have raised this particular video as an issue, and the response every time has been, it doesn't violate any of our policies. If you don't like it, don't watch it, is basically the response they were given. I also have asked about that particular video with my contacts at YouTube and got the same response. It doesn't violate any of our policies at all. It can stay monetized and it can stay on the platform, which I was quite surprised about because I think that it could cause harm. So is the platform at fault if someone gets hurt? I've got another couple of examples for you today. You guys have been just sending this one video to me again and again, wanting to know, one, is it possible? And two, is it dangerous? That's the two questions I keep getting on this one video. So let's dive in and check and see how it goes. First, is it even possible? So if I put a Wear the Caramel on a fry pan on high heat, after about 20 seconds, it starts to melt, and then it starts to burn and give off a putrid smoke. That's going to take a while to clean the pan. Attempt number 2 at medium heat. After waiting 1 minute, it looks like this, and at 2 minutes, it's still not completely melted, but again, it's starting to burn, and we've got to clean the pan again. Attempt number 3, I've got this over very low heat, and after a long wait, 10 minutes to be exact, to melt one candy, it was looking like it might start to burn, so I quickly plunged the pan into cold water to cool it, and once it was cold, I couldn't get it off the pan. Now, to be fair, I wasn't using a non-stick pan, and it looks like they were, so that might solve that problem. But even so, that is not the way to make candy tuiles. It is a very ineffective, time-wasting way, and you're likely to burn the candy. If you want to make candy tuiles just super quickly, put them into a food processor and blitz them up, or if you don't have a food processor, put them into a bag and bash it with a rolling pin till you've got a powder. Then just put a small spoonful of that onto some baking paper and bake it in the oven. Just keep an eye on it. It will only take a couple of minutes for that to melt because you've got quite a fine layer there. Pull it out, leave them to cool completely, and then you can just peel them off the non-stick baking paper and you've got these cute little candy tuiles. You can make them finer or thicker depending how much of that powder you put onto your baking paper. Next thing they do in their video is they pour melted Werther's over a single beater that is spinning. The question I keep getting from everyone is that safe, or is that going to burn you and splatter caramel on you? I think that's a very good question. Yes, I think it's going to splatter caramel. Whether it's going to burn or not, I actually wasn't sure, because it's like, will the caramel have cooled down enough by the time it's been dripped down and flicked out to not burn you, or is it still going to be hot? So we're going to have to do some experiments to figure out whether this one's actually dangerous or just messy. To test it out, I've put my beaters inside a box, and then I've cut a hole in the top so that I can put the melted caramel in the top just like they did. And then all along the front here, I have plastic food wrap so that we can see if the caramel burns through it or not. Plastic food wrap is surprisingly heat resistant. If I take some over a bowl and pour on boiling water, which as you know would burn your skin, the plastic food wrap doesn't melt. It's made to be heat resistant. Good quality plastic wrap has a melting point of between 120 and 140 C or 250 to 290 F, so well into the zone where you're going to burn your skin before you start to melt the plastic wrap. Now, in comparison, crack hard candy is 148 C or 300 degrees F, so much hotter than the plastic wrap. But as I said, my question is it going to be cooled down by the time it's flung through the air? So is it really going to still be that hot? Obviously it's that hot in the pan, but what about once it's flung off the beaters? I'm filming this in slow motion so you can see what's happening with the caramel. Wow, that's a big splatter of hot caramel that would have gone all over you if the plastic wasn't there. I don't know if you can see from this angle, but it's made a hole in the plastic wrap the whole way down. And there's caramel fused and melted into that plastic. So I guess that answers the question of yes, that caramel is still hot. Let me film that a second time for you. Again, this is in slow motion, 180 frames a second, so it's much slower than in real life. And that went right through. Imagine that hot caramel stuck to your skin. We're talking some serious burns here. Anyone who's been burnt by hot caramel will know why I say it's lava hot. It's hotter than hot water every time we're using it. So I want to know, poll on this video, let me know. I want to know your thoughts. Is YouTube the platform or Facebook the platform responsible for allowing these videos to be on their platform if someone gets hurt doing this? Or is it the content creator's fault? Or is it purely in the viewers or the parents if their children's responsibility to actually do their own research before they follow these recipes? Most people I know since I've been making these have been, why would anyone make fake baking videos? Just this whole confusion, this whole concept that anyone would do that. But it's all about getting views. It's all about virality. It's all about getting paid. It's all about money. And that's why people are doing it. They're making fake stuff because that's more shareable. It's more interesting than real stuff, because we've all seen how to make apple pie 100 different ways, and there's not much more new to do with that. So they've turned to faking it to get more clicks and more views. It's an interesting world that we live in. If you do get burnt by hot caramel, 5-Minute Crafts comes into play with this video telling us what to do. Apparently, you just put some toothpaste on it and that will soothe the hot burn. Colgate has actually put a whole page on their website dedicated to why you should not put toothpaste on burns. They say the ingredients in toothpaste are not soothing. It contains abrasives and detergents which work well for cleaning your teeth, but not for easing the pain of a burn. The American Academy of Dermatology, which is skin doctors basically, also advises not to put toothpaste on burns because it can lead to infections. In case you don't actually know what you should do if you have a burn or a friend has a burn, if it's a minor burn, run it under cool running water. It doesn't need to be ice or icy cold water that can do more damage to the skin. Just cool water running from the tap just over it, and keep it there for quite a few minutes. Up to 20 minutes is recommended. Now obviously if you have a larger area or a deeper burn, run the cool water and then immediately call an ambulance and follow their instructions. They'll tell you what to do over the phone. So that's been quite a serious video. Apologies for that today, but it is a serious topic, and I think that it would be interesting to know what you think about responsibility and blame, where that should land. I'm fascinated to wait and see the results of that poll and see what you think. To watch more of my debunking videos, click here. To watch some recipes that actually work, click here. Subscribe to How to Cook That for more cakes, chocolates and desserts. If you want more debunking videos, let me know and tweet me the videos you want me to review. With thanks to my patrons who sponsor me every week and make videos still possible on this channel. Make it a great week, and I'll see you on Friday.